Transformers: Rise of the Beasts is the seventh, yes, you heard that right, the seventh Transformers film. During the 90s, a new faction of Transformers, the Maximals, joined the Autobots as allies in the battle for Earth. The first Transformers film has a very special place in my heart because when I saw that film back in 2007 when I was 11, it really blew me away. It was like my favorite movie that year, and it is a movie that I could watch any time of the day. Maybe it's a guilty pleasure film for me, but I actually think the first Transformers film is actually pretty well done from the special effects and narrative wise. I just think it's one of those rare summer blockbuster gems. But then the sequels were baffling how bad they were. I mean, Dark of the Moon was okay, and I do enjoy Bumblebee, but Revenge of the Fallen and the Mark Wahlberg ones are just horrifically terrible. The thing with the Bumblebee film, it felt like we were done with the Michael Bay tropes, the Michael Bayisms we saw in the Transformers films that were directed by Michael Bay. But unfortunately, in Rise of the Beast, the film is filled with these Michael Bayisms, with the terrible dialogue, the completely unfunny characters, the unfunny jokes, a plot that just is complete nonsense. You don't really care about what's going on. You don't really care about the characters. It felt like we took a step backwards for this franchise because Bumblebee felt like it might have been a step in the right direction with characters we care about, no more tropes, all of that. But Rise of the Beast is filled with all those tropes that you would find annoying in those Michael Bay Transformers movies. But the thing about some of those Michael Bay Transformers movies, especially in the third one, at least the action was really impressive. Like the way he mixed practical effects with the CGI Transformers, I have to give Michael Bay credit. It's impressive what he could pull off there. But in Rise of the Beast, it feels like most of the action is copy and paste from other Transformers movies. I mean, there's 7 of these now, so there's only so much you could do with action and new ways to show Transformers fighting. But honestly, it got really boring with the sequences, and that's supposed to be the most fun part about your movie, are the action sequences when Transformers are fighting each other. It feels like there wasn't too much thought put in this film, whether it's the action sequences, the plot, or the story. It almost feels like they just pumped out a Transformers movie because they had to pump out a Transformers movie because they have this IP. They haven't made a Transformers movie in 5 years. What I mean by that is the plot, the action sequences, every element in this film doesn't feel very unique. It doesn't feel like there's anything that you're going to really remember from this film that stands out from all the other Transformers movies. I will say though, this film definitely does a better job than the Mark Wahlberg Transformers movies with setting up our human characters, because Anthony Ramos and Dominique Fishback are actually a lot of fun in the film, and I feel like there is something there with both their characters that it seems like the film is attempting to get you to care about them. But overall, the dialogue here is so bad and really cringeworthy that you can tell the actors are doing their best, but overall, it always goes back to the same tropes of these Transformers movies where you just don't care about the human characters in these films. You want to see the Transformers, and a lot of this film is centered around the human characters, which, like I said, can become boring. Rise of the Beast definitely has issues trying to balance the human parts of the story and the Transformers parts of the story. But honestly, both aren't interesting at all. And honestly, I don't really care about the overall continuity of the franchise at this point because these films don't mean all that much to me. But I can't lie, like, I'm so confused. How does all of this mesh up well with Transformers 2007 or even with Bumblebee? Like, I'm so confused. I don't even know what the timeline is now. Maybe they explained it in other films. I just don't remember. I really am so confused what's going on. And like I said, it's not like it's gonna make me lose sleep at night. But I'm not gonna lie, when I was watching the film, I'm like, how does this tie into the other movies? This makes no sense to me. There is a fun sequence at the end of the film with a character introduction, I'll just leave it at that, that led into another fun sequence, and it was just a blast. And it felt really different from all the other sequences. It felt like Stephen Caple Jr., the director of the film, was actually able to get his creative fingerprints involved with that sequence because it felt a lot different from the other sequences, because the other sequences just felt like copy and paste from other Transformers movies. It didn't feel like it had any creative flair compared to that sequence at the end of the film. And that really sums up my overall feeling for this film. It just feels like there wasn't too much creative thought put in the film. It feels like the studio just wanted to make a Transformers movie because they could. And because some people didn't like the Bumblebee movie, they're like, all right, we'll just go back to some of the Michael Bay tropes, and maybe people will like that. This movie will make more money if we do that. I think this movie is a step in the wrong direction for this franchise. Honestly, don't know if there really is a great direction for this franchise. I'm not the biggest Transformers fan in the world, so I'm the wrong person to ask. But for me, Rise of the Beast feels like a step backwards and not a step forwards. I'm going to give Transformers Rise of the Beast 3.5 Davey Daves. Pete Davidson is in the film. He's a Transformer. I thought he was funny for the most part. Maybe that is where a lot of the Michael Bay-isms fall into this film, is a lot of his lines, because they do remind me of some of the lines from Revenge of the Fallen. But Pete Davidson was okay, but at the same time, he falls into some of the main problems with the film. So, Transformers, Rise of the Beast. Let me know what you guys thought of it once you've seen it. I'm curious to hear. And thank you so much for watching. Click here to see more of Dave's Takes.